Okay, we are back with this part 2 series with Ken Elmer. Thanks for joining us again, Ken. I realized that on the first episode, I asked you guys all of your favorite James Bond movies, but I didn't answer mine. I'm deep in going from the beginning. Like I said, I'm currently on the Roger Moore series, which is it's okay. I will say the opening scene in Casino Royale is arguably one of the greatest things in any movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Like that running scene with Daniel Craig and it just goes on for like 10, 12 minutes that's a work of art. And that Casino Royale is my answer. I think that is just...
That's not a bad answer. And
Yeah.
they're right. That first scene probably was half the budget of that movie. Like
it's
just like
incredible.
the sequencing and everything. Fantastic stuff.
It's incredible.
Absolutely.
And like
Love
I
it.
said, I don't want to put my brain in this space because we won't talk real estate at all. And so let's just jump back over to One Suite. We ended the last episode with kind of this having the right mentality, for lack of other phrases. And Ken, I kind of want you to talk about just what sort of mindset do you need to be in to be properly utilizing this brand new tool?
Yeah, when we come, I say we as an industry, right? Certainly, like the prop tech industry, we come out with some great new amazing tool. We've gotten very limited agent feedback, barely talked to anybody, but we just think it's going to change the world. Like it scares people because the prop tech industry, and I say the prop tech like that's kind of the industry I'm in, building technology for real estate giants. You know, that's what we're known for doing, but that's not this. This is taking what we already know works, right? The amazing things behind OneSuite, right? The stay in touch, the market report, the rules of 30, the business tools, and so like all that stuff. And just giving it basically a nice, simple AI on top of it where you can just talk to it and ask it things to do or tell it things to do or whatever. It breaks that barrier of entry for a lot of agents that don't go in and use the tools on a regular basis. So they forget where a tool is and they're too embarrassed to ask, or they don't have the time to ask. Now you're going to open up your phone and talk to it and say, hey, can you just set up Kathy Baker on a market report for Orange County? And it's done. I don't have to remember where to go to find the market report. There's no new tool. There's just a new way to do the things that we all already know are successful that we find that we're losing track of making that dedicated time to do that. So don't be scared of it. Like there's a lot of things in AI you can be scared of. Lord knows. Watch some of the podcasts. We may not even be around in 10 years. But it's not heading that direction. This right here is we've worked with all of our people and with you guys to say like, what problems are we solving? It's super simple.
But I don't want to go too deep on this, but you know, like the idea of like decision fatigue, right? Like you can only make so many decisions in a day before your brain is just, I'm done. Like I can't, I'm tapped, and you're actually physically fatigued. And so it's the idea that you're almost freeing up energy, space, decisions in your brain and in your daily routine because you're letting something else handle that small hanging or that low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that this is giving people the opportunity to be better business people.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're spot on. I was on stage with an AI conference last couple of weeks, and someone was saying, all I want is to be in the Starbucks line and talk to my phone and say, do these 4 things. And by the time I pay, like those things are done for me. And I laughed because I'm like, well, that's exactly what we built. We didn't build all this other funky stuff, but we built that. Why did we build it? Because you guys listening to this, right? You've been trained in this mentality that like every Friday at noon, you got to go in and spend an hour working on your CRM, and you got to spend an hour putting new contacts in, and you got to do this and do that. And that's daunting. And you miss that one time, and then you feel all the guilt from missing that, so you miss it the next week too. And like this is just human nature, especially with independent specialists that can control all of their own schedule. Now it's like I don't have to make these decisions. I just talk to my phone on the fly, and it just does this, and it flows. It day by day flows completely differently. And I'm not left with that one big, I got to sit down and update my CRM for 2 hours on Friday. I need a bottle of whiskey for that. And like, that kind of a thing. It's not that anymore.
Yeah.
It works it into your life. And I think that's one of the most, I'm trying to communicate that as best I can, but I think that's going to be one of the most powerful things here. I get my life back, right? Now I own my CRM. It doesn't own me, right? And that's what we're trying to do. It's not complicated, but different mentality.
Well, it's Kathy, like you, this might be harsh, but it's like everything that, not everything, but like a lot of these things that we're talking about that we're asking or we're telling people to use AI to enhance their business, these are things that they should be doing already. So now it's just making it easier, right? Like you should be like building this client base. You should be working with your CRM. You should be doing all of those things. We're now just like Ken with Otto and with these new features in OneSuite, you're just making their weekly routine easier.
Yeah. And I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question kind of through a story. I remember the last big shift was probably online, probably the internet. And I remember being in a room, and I think I've told you both this story before. I remember being in a room and a speaker saying, you're going to be replaced. You're going to be like the travel agent. You're not going to be needed anymore. And everybody on the call, and it's a question for you guys, you're going to be valued more than ever because validation is going to be the key with AI. Now, that's one question. The second question is, I want to go back to you talking about the flow, Ken. Go back to that travel agent, right? They kind of did go away because I can go online now, I can book a flight, I can choose my seat, and I can do all of that. The one thing I can't do is fly the plane.
Yeah.
And the 2 times in that flight with today's technology that I need the pilot is when we take off and when we land.
Right.
The most important times in the life of a realtor is when you first go under contract and right before you close. But I'm willing to bet that most airlines, the majority of that flight is on autopilot. And if you correlate that to, that's what AI can do. AI can make you better at the activities you have to do to make money. And you just need to discern, what can I put on autopilot to make it faster, better, more effective, more efficient, safer, my conversion rate better, all of that. So is that a mindset that I can let go of the stuff that's not necessary, that can be done? Guess what, guys? It can be done better on autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a really resilient industry, right? COVID didn't kill us, it made us better. The internet didn't kill us, it made us more powerful. It gave us bigger reach. IDX didn't kill us, it actually created the best shopping experience. Could you imagine, like, if IDX didn't exist, you'd have to go to like 7 different car dealerships and 28,000 different, like, there's some things we really take for granted, but one thing that's never changed, is the person. And, we'll get someday where everything's electronic signature finally, like, circa 1997. We'll get someday where more things, but this is the biggest financial transaction of most people's lives. You think I'm going to leave that to a chat bot that I've never met in a website? Like, no. Like, again, people and the agents, this kind of stuff makes the great ones greater, makes the good ones great, and it makes the coasters think that maybe, I don't know, working at Macy's is a great thing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this is a great industry, but it's built on, I'm trusting somebody with this massive financial decision that could really change the trajectory of my financial life in the next decade. I need that person. I need my person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, AI will take a lot of the small things, put some of your stuff on autopilot. When we built Otto and we built your CRM app, in the specs of that was like, I want to be able to easily access most of the things I need from my CRM at a stoplight and a Starbucks, right? Super simple. Let's work like you work. That's where we want to be. But I'm doing that with one goal in mind, right? To keep the person front and center. And I just don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Good.
Almost 30 years I've been pretty intimate with the internet. And Josh still gives that
Stamp that for social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And things have evolved. And what I love what Ken said too is positive habits and taking what the new stuff is and creating positive habits with them. Things are always going to change. And you look at different job roles, and Kathy used the example of a travel agent. Travel agents still are useful. They just adapted. And if you don't adapt, you don't use it to your positive habits, you don't use it for your positive use, along with everything else that OneSuite provides, then you're not adapting, you're not going to survive. You're going to be as defunct as Woolworth.
Excuse me. I do think, though, Ken, you brought up a really good point, and I really harp on this a lot, is the idea of, yes, we are making AI and all of these different things a part of our daily routines and our daily lives, and it's making it easier. it also makes the personal touch of things that much more greater and emphasized because it wasn't made via AI. I'm talking like from as small as a handwritten greeting card letter to your parents
Yeah.
on their birthday that was not made via AI, all the way to a real estate transaction that is done with a human being that knows exactly what you and your family need at this moment in your lives. And you're never going to get that personal touch from a computer. You won't. It just, you can't.
Listen, I could not agree more. I think that what we're trying to build is tools that let you go back and be that person, knowing that that person is incredibly important. I'm doing a project with outside the real estate industry with somebody overseas, and I was shooting emails back and forth, and I know how this guy communicates. And then the email that I got a couple of days ago was him regurgitating my email, putting bullet points together, putting a task list together. It was clearly not written by him. Clearly written by his AI. And I'll be honest with you, my first thought was, okay, that's fine, but if his AI is writing this, does he really understand the next steps of what he needs to do for our collaboration project?
Right.
And we're already seeing that where, I've got 125 team members, right, that work for me, and some of them have AI in their like auto email responses and all this kind of stuff. My question is like, okay, but that's fine. But do you understand the ask? Because that's a really nifty AI that's come back and forth, but you're doing the work and you're building the whatever. Same thing is with this housing transaction. We can throw some AI stuff in there. We can help it do some things, but we're doing that to free up the fact that I am responsible as an agent for a massive financial transaction for this person and their entire family. How much of that am I leaving to automation, and how much of that am I making sure that that shit gets done perfect?
Yeah.
Right. And
I mean,
that's never going to be AI. And I don't want it to be AI. I want my agent to look me in the eyes and say, I think you're fine with that home inspection. I think this is a great offer. And I think I can have you closed by the end of next month.
to take Kathy's analogy and go one step further, imagine you're on a plane and you hear the pilot and he's like, all right, like we're good, we're getting ready to land. And then you look to your right and like the pilot's sitting next to you. Like, would you feel like you're in a good place? And it's all on
100%.
and so like that's the way you have to think about it is, yeah, it's autopilot. It probably can land itself. It'll probably be fine, but like I'm not willing to take that risk. And so I think at the end of the day, Kathy, I love your analogy. It's like it's takeoff and landing. Like those are key moments where you have to have the actual physical human touch.
I want to pause a moment if we can. Ken said something about his 125 members, and I said in part one when I introduced him that how much he does that people don't realize. We've got an incredible team that I want to pause a moment and recognize within Realty One Group that's helped build this out. Ken, you can help me with this. Michelle Lease does a phenomenal job.
Unbelievable.
Taylor Christensen, both of you guys do a lot with AI. I am just in awe of the commitment of our team to embrace this in a collaborative effort with Ken's team and everyone else. And I just feel like it would have been remiss not to mention some of those people because, man, we've got talent like
You guys
unreal.
do. You guys, and I can speak from experience, but you guys have, Arcadius and his entire team that you guys do internally. Unbelievable. Just miles ahead of others. Paige and what she does with product is phenomenal as well. These are the people we work with multiple times a week, every week, and we have for years. And we're all very tight. We're good friends. But it's all with one goal in mind, right? To make the agent's life more productive, better, give everyone a better quality of life. Like everyone has these goals in mind that are they're just different. I've never heard from you guys like I've heard from others. Well, we got to make that bottom line look great so our stock does blah, blah, blah. Like you guys are about people, and I freaking love that.
And I think you brought up, I can't remember, we've been talking a lot if it was this episode or the previous one, but you brought up also the idea of a work-life balance, like really, doubling down on people and our people.
Yeah.
Use AI to get back your life. I think that's actually what you said, Ken, was like use AI to bring back your life is, you might actually have a weekend, go to your kid's game or take a vacation that you haven't taken in 2 years. These are things that are trying to automate the shit that used to take a couple hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's how we need to see it, as an extra kicker to get back to where we want to be, not as this, now I got to learn how to code for a website. Like it's not that. This can be that extra 5% that gives you back 20%.
Yep.
Ken, you mentioned the earlier, and I'm kind of stuck on this because I'm really interested. The rule of 30. and then going into staying in front of folks. And then what would you say your top tips would be with Otto, with OneSuite, to stay in front of the sphere, whether that's current clients, past clients, current, and folks that you try to get through the pipeline?
Yeah, let's start with the problem. The problem over here is the 85%, 25% thing. And you guys have heard it a bunch, but I really need you to absorb it, right? Over 85% of your clients are happy with the transaction. Less than 25% will use you again. Why is that? Not because they're unhappy, right? Let's move from problem to, reality. The reality is that some of them don't think a real estate transaction is that complicated. So their sister-in-law gets a real estate license. Let's let her have this other. You haven't spoken to them about the level of value, and they forgot who you are. Right at the end of the day, it's a very important transaction, but 6 months goes on, they have another kid, and husband changes jobs and blah blah blah, and all of a sudden 3 years later it's like, what was the name of that realtor again that we used? I think she did a good job, but so and so is listing with blah 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 across the street. That's the real life that we live in. Whether you like it or not, it's there. So how do we solve those problems? What I really encourage people to do is what we've teamed the rule of 30. I want to stay in front of my non-transacting clients. Listen, if 5% of your clients are in transaction, you know what to do with them. You don't need anything from me, right? But what about the 95% that are not in transaction right now? Your sphere, your family, your past clients, your neighborhoods that you're trying to farm, all of that kind of stuff. Stay in front of them 30 times a year in a non-invasive way, both relationally and with a market-driven emphasis. So you want to stay in touch with simple things. Happy 4th of July, right? It takes half a second to set up all your clients on a holiday drip campaign. And I know that they go out and I know they work because millions of them go out every holiday from your system, and I see the open rates. No one's going to buy because they get a happy 4th of July little thing, right? But they're going to see your face, they're going to remember your name. And then you send them a monthly market report, and that proves your expertise, right? I don't want to get a postcard from my doctor every month that tells me about farmers markets. I want to learn about health because he's my doctor, right? You are my trusted real estate professional. And so market reports, that's what they're there for. If you send out a monthly market report, holiday campaigns, that's 30. That will take you seconds to do. Otto can do it for you, and it will solve a ton of issues and get you exponentially more transactions we see it happen every single month, but people are like, oh, okay, I got to get to that. I'll do it on Friday. Well, no, I'll get to it next week. Now Otto is just going to do that stuff for you, and that's what we're trying to encourage. So when people hear me talk about the rule of 30, something that we've coined, that's what it's all about. And it's so simple, it's almost foolish. But at the end of the day, so is all of these people forgetting what your name was in your transaction 4 years ago. You wouldn't believe it, but that's what happens. That's what this industry is.
And I love that, because what you could also do is take those other products that we have in the one tool chest that are available to our network.
So many.
Align it in a multi-channel way where you're getting those touches. Another one that comes to mind is Reminder Media that is now available to our network with the marketplace. And that's another touch point. And you just stay in front of all these people. You just use the tools that are provided to you.
Can I monetize that real quickly?
Please, go.
Because there's statistics behind what Ken's talking about. And if you stay in touch as he's talking about, the yield or the monetization of that should be 3 leads over 36 months, 3 viable leads from each person over 36 months that you've closed, past buyers and sellers. So let's talk about that money for just a minute.
Wow.
So let's say you had 10 closings per year, and from those 10, you get 3 leads over that 36 months. Mm-hmm. That becomes 30, right? Mm-hmm. No, 10 leads, 3 years in a row is 30 leads. The 30 times 3 is 90. If you suck at what you do and you only convert 50% of those, that's 45 buyers or sellers times $10,000 commission is $450,000 of revenue over 36 months.
If you suck.
But if you suck, I mean, if you're only got a 50% conversion rate on people, past buyers and sellers, that's another conversation. Mm-hmm. Typically, go back to his 85%, and I would have to pull out the calculator to do that. But at a minimum, $500,000 over 3 years. Think about that just a minute of the monetization. Yeah, we love them. Yeah, we want to be top of mind. We want to do all of that. But we're talking about a $500,000 return on an investment that's paid for you. I want to go back to that. This is provided for you by the brand and supported by you incredibly. So, every now and then I have that Mike Clear moment that I had to bring the money forward. But guys, that's why this business works. That's why that top 20% is doing repeat and referral business over and over and over.
Kathy, I love what you just did. Let's talk marketing for a second. Some people things need to be marketed to them differently. And you just spoke to a lot of people that are purely numbers driven. They see that, okay, I can literally put in half of an effort and make $500,000 over 3 years.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's real.
And yeah, it's real, Ken. I think this is, I think for the people that are watching, for the people that are listening, this is one of our episodes that, you just got real sound tactical advice. I mean, take it and run with it. I could keep talking for hours. I could bring back up James Bond if you guys wanted, but Ken, I know you're a busy man. We really appreciate you joining us for this two-parter.
Thank you for the invitation. It's great, great to talk about the stuff that I think about all day long, and for someone to care.
When can we do it again?
That's what I was going to say. We'd love to have you back. Like this was painless. This was fun. I really think our audience is going to really eat this up too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully everyone that saw me at Summit and is getting ready to experience Otto, which we're very, very excited about as a team to bring that to you guys. Between that and this, we'll get some more exposure and get people in there doing exponentially great stuff. So I'm confident of that.
And if you use Kathy's formula, if you suck or don't suck, you can still make a lot of money with the Realty One Group.
It's true.
I'm sensing a slogan somewhere. Yeah, I'm sensing a slogan coming.
I'm trying not to get HR to call me right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Sarah has asked me not to self-report anymore to HR, but I'm just let's end it with this. You oughta use it.
Yeah.
You oughta. You sure oughta.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks,
Thank you,
Kathy.
Ken.
Thank you,
Look forward to
Savag.
it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you. All right. Let's stop